Okay. Hello. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I think this is I think you're the first repeat guest.
Yay!
Yes. Wow,
We
that's
had so
cool.
much fun last time. So,
Yeah, I really did like the conversation, and it is still the best performing podcast episode so far. And
awesome.
it's still trickling in views sometimes too as well. So
Good.
that's really cool, and it was a really good, I think, introduction to you as well. So it's perfect.
Thanks.
I was actually curious. So what all kind of podcasts are you doing? Because I every time I talk to you, you're telling me about you being on a bunch of other different people's shows, and I was just curious, like are you because I know you sought me out and you asked me to be on my show. So are you constantly online, just like finding different places to put yourself out there, and so you can go talk to people and do a bunch of things?
No. So this I'm starting my own podcast. It's called Radiance Revealed with Dr. Jen Haley. So
Okay,
I am recording the first 10 or 12 episodes and then I'll launch probably.
nice.
I'm really ready to launch, but there's a lot of things to get done and I'm not as tech savvy as you, so I have a whole production crew
Yeah,
that I just hired to take care of it. So they're
nice.
working on artwork and things like that. So it's it's about, I'm a dermatologist
Right,
and I think we have these misconceptions in the world where we think beauty is one thing and radiance is a whole different thing, right? So
right.
beauty can be this two-dimensional look. If you look at like Cosmo magazine, yes, that person is beautiful. But when someone walks through the world, they can be radiant, right? Because they have
Yes.
this inner peace, this inner happiness, this inner sense of purpose, this health, this there's so much more to real radiance, than
Hmm.
just the definition of beauty. So that's what I want to reveal basically by getting different experts from all around. So I just right before we started talking, I have a male functional medicine doctor who's a friend of
Oh,
mine. We were
cool.
speakers at a yeah, we were speakers a couple of years ago at an anti-aging and age management medicine conference and he does some really cool stuff. So we talked about male hormones. So I talked to a female about female hormones, aromatherapy. We'll do some skin procedures. I do some single ones with dermatology stuff. And then I have like spiritual people on there as well, like law
Excellent.
of attraction kind of stuff and
Hmm.
manifestation and things like that. So it's just really looking at mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. Are
So
you gonna get Joe Dispenza on there?
that would be
I'm
awesome.
so obsessed with him. Like, I bring this book everywhere, man. He's amazing. I think one of the things that I'm learning from him kind of goes along with maybe what you're saying, like the radiance. Because
Yeah.
what he's talking about is the electromagnetic field and frequencies that we give off as humans, because our feelings or in our emotions give off an electronic signal, and our thoughts give off a magnetic signal, and so each combination of the two gives off the electromagnetic signal
Yes.
at all times, and it interacts with the things around us, and like we've got that radiance. It's the
It's your
radiation.
vibe. It's just your
Yes, the
vibe,
vibe, the
It's
vibrations.
like, have you ever been somewhere and you can just feel a presence, and that's
Yeah.
the vibrational frequency. And we are, I have to tell you, he's so incredible. Like, your audience may think I'm nuts for saying this, but he seriously is channeling information from a higher source because he's just
Yeah.
like, like,
Yeah, I mean that's what he's describing in this book. It's the eighth chakra, Ka, the one that's 16 inches
oh,
behind above your head. And so like right now I'm learning like there's this chakra blessing meditation where first you do this little breath work, which I haven't gotten to that part. I'm about to read about it. So you do this breath work technique, and then you sit down and you do a chakra blessing meditation where you start at the bottom one in your
your
navel.
root chakra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the creativity, and that loosens it up, and you go up and you bless them, and you look at them with an elevated emotion and with gratitude and love and joy,
Mm.
and you release them and let them flow, and then it flows upwards and upwards and upwards, and then eventually you can get to your eighth chakra, which is where you, like literally like you just said, he calls it channeling information from the divine like force.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. Going back to 40 years of Zen. So we did a lot of, that kind of stuff at 40
Yeah.
years of Zen where you're in different states. And most of the work was in alpha wave state.
And I
But it
actually understand what you're saying now.
well,
I
Joe
didn't
Joe
understand
Dispenza
brainwaves. until
I think Joe Dispenza does one of the best jobs explaining the brain waves on his website because I was just reading it last night. I'm like, oh, that makes better sense to me now.
right.
And but with the gamma wave state, when we were in gamma, I loved it. It was like being on the best drug in the world, which I don't really do drugs, but it was like how I would imagine it to be.
Right.
And when we were in the gamma wave state, I was feeling that. I had this bright golden light kind of shooting out, like, at like a flashlight kind of direction. It was shooting in. And I was like, okay, my goal in doing that session was to kind of like send out love out to the universe.
Hmm.
And at first I kind of sent love out through my heart chakra, and I was a little resistant. And I'm like, why are you being resistant? And all of a sudden I started feeling that light coming in. I'm like, there's infinite love coming in. I'm going to send infinite love out. And the coolest part is like all of a sudden this is all going on in my brain, right? My brain's decisions to do this, or my brain naturally doing this. The light that I was sending out turned into butterflies, and all of a
Oh,
sudden I was like, oh, butterflies will distribute the love better.
yes. I mean, yeah.
It was just so interesting, like what comes through us when we don't have busy minds.
Yeah, definitely. And am I remembering correctly that you said, I remember you mentioning butterflies last time we spoke. Um,
You know,
maybe an affinity with them or something?
I had like this blue butterfly symbol
That.
popping up everywhere.
Yes.
It stopped.
Oh, it did
Stopped.
stop. Huh.
Yeah, it was a symbol. It was a symbol of being on the right path, I think. And yeah, I'm there, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, we've arrived, right? Well,
Figure it out.
I don't know. I get like a really like funky, strange, and positive sensation like every single time I see a butterfly. Honestly, like every time I see a butterfly, I'm walking, like it's usually at the beginning of something. Like typically, like I'll go outside and I'm about to go on like an adventure or a hike or a run or something like that, or maybe a trip, and then like the moment you begin on that journey, a butterfly flies by, and like that's been happening to me throughout like my whole life, and every time I see it, I recognize it, and I'm like, this is gonna be good. This is
Yeah,
exactly
and
how
it
it's
can
supposed to be.
symbol yeah, it could symbol transformation. They all have different symbols. So
Yeah,
like birds symbolize freedom, but then different birds symbolize different things. So sometimes I'll just look up like what's the spiritual meaning of X, Y, and Z. And
yeah.
sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it does, and
Do
it's
you by
just
chance know
reinforcing.
the definition of what it means to see an owl?
No, what's
No,
that?
I don't know. I was curious
Oh,
because I
no.
saw an owl when my first failed marathon attempt. Like as I started running, I saw the owl, and I was like, "Wow, it's a sign that I'm gonna finish." Clearly not,
No,
but
he was telling, I think they're a sign of wisdom. I'm actually just making this up right now because I'm thinking like Athena, Greek god,
yeah,
goddess, like wisdom. Maybe it was like, be wise enough to know when to call it.
right. Which yeah, I
You
definitely
never
would.
know,
Yeah,
right?
hey, you never know. That's a cool interpretation. I do like that. Yeah, because like I actually have a foot injury right now because I ran 17 miles 2 weeks ago, and then the next day I tried running a recovery run 5K, but I ran it at like the fastest mile pace that I can go,
Oh, man.
and it kind of jacked my foot up. And then I didn't wait long enough to try to run on it again, and then made it sore. So it's hard. It's hard because I just love grinding and I love going hard, and it's like cardio. I think cardio is like a drug for me. Like when I go run and I come back, like all my worries, all my stresses are just gone, and I'm super zen for the rest of the day.
It's like your meditation, and
Yes.
you don't have to meditate the traditional way to have meditation. It could just be walking through nature or having that rhythmic running breath feeling, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's your
yeah. Running
Why
is
not
definitely a mini
biking? Why don't you
meditation.
try to bike?
Well, I don't own a bike, so I can't do that in the interim. I don't know. It's a good question. I've just never. It's never really been like I don't think that's like to just go on a 30-mile bike ride doesn't sound like any fun to me. I think I like the fact that running is so hard. Like from the like from
Yeah.
before you start, it's difficult. Like cuz you got to convince yourself to put your shoes on, then you got to convince yourself to warm up, and then you still haven't even left. And now you got to reconvince yourself to go outside and hit the pavement, and then you're hitting the pavement and you're like, "Man, I kind of want to go 5," and you get to 2 and you're like, I could go 3, and you got to push yourself. But it's just it's a constant. It sucks the whole time. It sucks the whole time from
But then you
beginning.
feel great afterwards.
Yes, yeah, it's
Yeah.
horribly terrible. Like being in the sauna. Like being in the sauna, It's so
You mean living
bad.
in Arizona? Being in the sauna, i.e., living in Arizona.
Well, when I say sauna, I mean a dry sauna at 185 degrees.
Yeah, no, thanks.
So,
I'm good.
dude, it's so well. The only thing, like for me, I think that is even more of a drug for me when I finish, and then as well, um,
How long do you stay in?
20 minutes,
Okay.
20 minutes. But I haven't done it since before the pandemic because they're all closed now.
Oh,
Yes, but from do you know who Dr. Rhonda Patrick is?
yeah, she's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, she has an article where she's talking about a Finnish study or studies on saunas, on dry saunas, and it
Uh-huh.
says that 20-minute sessions, 4 to 5 times per week post workout at 175 degrees plus, will decrease your chances of dying from all cause mortality by 45%. It will decrease your chances of dying from sudden cardiovascular arrest by 65%, and it will decrease your chances of getting a neurodegenerative disease by 71%.
So these are my thoughts with the sauna, and this is purely my thoughts. This is not science, right? Is I think you just need to sweat. So we release toxins through sweat, right? And a lot of people, even if they're exercising, they're not sweating. We're fortunate in Arizona. We have many, many opportunities to sweat every day. So I think as long as you sweat and you push your body into the extremes of temperature, because we need to kind of, go through that hormesis where we're pushing our bodies to extreme, like
Right.
cold, hot, instead of being at 68, 70 degrees all the time. And if sauna is the way to do it, then do it. But if running in the heat is your way to do it, I say that works fine too, or hot
Yeah.
yoga for someone else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's just the,
Don't
the
stay
heat
in your
shock
comfort.
proteins.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't stay in your comfort zone, right?
Right, right. Yeah, that's the hardest thing. Yeah, and then ice baths as well. Get that autonomic nervous system activated,
I
the
have a
vagus
funny
nerve.
story.
Yes,
Yes.
please give it to me.
So, so at the biohacking conference, which I know you want to talk about, Wim
Yes,
Hof
please.
was on, right? So I got all
Oh.
motivated. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do his app and I'm going to do the breathing and I'm going to do Wim Hof, right? Well, the universe answered me because the next day my hot water heater broke.
That's amazing. How was your cold shower?
Oh, I had 2.5 weeks of cold showers, and I don't think I took one more than 3 minutes. And which is good. He said that's a
That's all
good
you
way to
need.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you definitely want to go, you definitely want to do your breathing because it's just very natural. And then I realized how to light the pilot light and I fixed the problem.
Nice. Yeah, I've actually been having troubles with my shower lately. I had like the thing where your handle like popped out from the wall and there's water shooting out of it, and I had to get like a plumber guy to come in here, and then he delayed it and delayed it, delayed it. It's like,
Everyone's so busy, it's hard to get help. So
yes. So I mentioned the biohacking conference. How was that, by the
yeah.
way?
It was really good. It was my first one. So I think we talked about this last time. I've listened to Dave Asprey's podcast. I love podcasts, obviously.
Yes.
And I'm really auditory, but I never really knew much about Bulletproof or the whole biohacking world. Although looking back, like I've kind of always been a biohacker. I'm always trying
Yeah.
to optimize things. And he takes it to the extreme, and he set up this amazing conference with just such amazing people that I followed for a long time. Um, were at the conference. Joe Dispenza wasn't there. That would have been really cool. But pretty
Yeah.
much name anyone else, and they were pretty much there. It was a really good conference, and it was remote. And I would say I paid for the VIP ticket so we could do breakout sessions. And in the breakout sessions, there were some more focused things. There were some things on peptides. We got to speak with Dr. Harry Adelson in Park City, where I live part-time. He does like that full body stem cell transplant. That was
Ooh,
really
yeah.
interesting to learn about. Yeah. And
Ooh, would you learn about that, or did I? I
I
don't want to
learned that I'm
disrupt the.
probably going to do it.
Yeah, right. I want to do
I
stem cells so badly.
Yeah, I talked to him. I did a consult last week, and they do two different ones. And you try to find the part between like how much is it going to cost and how much benefit am I going to get, right?
That 80/20
So
rule.
yeah, because it's kind of expensive, but then when you're under anesthesia, you might as well do all of it, if you can,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of downtime associated with it. So they basically take your bone marrow and they suck it out, out of your
Yeah.
hip. So they suck out your bone marrow. Then they mix it with exosomes, which are
Yeah.
exosomes come from placenta. So it's like the purest. Wait, is it placenta or umbilical cord? It's one of the two.
It's
I
the
can never
umbilical.
remember.
I don't think we're not. I don't think we're allowed to do the placenta. I
I
think
think
it's
you're
the
right. I
umbilical
think it's
cord.
umbilical cord. I should know this. I knew this the other day, and I'm just blanking on it. But so just say it's umbilical cord, but it's from like 20 something year olds that are new and fresh. Whereas me, I'm 49, so my stem cells are not as fresh as like a 25-year-old, right?
Right.
Because they get old over time. So he mixes them together and then he injects them in every joint, including like TMJ, which I have a lot of TMJ
Every
problems.
joint.
Every single joint. So you'll kind
Wow.
of
How
find
long's the procedure?
it's a while. It takes a couple hours. And the part where I'm hesitant is that you can't really exercise for a while afterwards. And even after I had children, I lasted 2 days and I worked out. Like I was
Yeah.
running 2 days after I had kids. So I haven't gone more than 2 days without exercising since I was 15. So that kind of scared me, but I put it out there and I asked for other people's opinions, and I would say 100% of the time everybody says it was worthwhile.
Interesting.
And you can walk a couple days later. He doesn't want you to go like lift heavy in the gym or run a marathon or
Yeah.
anything like
Is
that,
it like 6 weeks of no working out, or like 6 months, or?
No, I think it's just you number one, you can't get injured. If you get injured, you're going to kind of defeat the stuff, because what he's doing is basically micro trauma to all of your joints. So he's putting in,
Right.
he's damaging all the joints and putting in, you know, these precious stem cells to hope they
Oh,
regenerate.
so they regenerate it better than they were
Yeah,
before.
exactly. So
Oh, okay, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. So if you damage them, you kind of defeated the purpose of doing it. So I think you could walk a couple days later and just kind of take it easy. So I'm going to do it after ski season and before mountain biking season in Park City. So
Yes, that
yeah.
sounds magnificent. That's so cool. Like stem cell research is so cool. Like, have you seen um the Joe Rogan episode with Mel Gibson and his father?
No, I
Dude,
haven't.
Mel Gibson's dad was 92, bedridden, couldn't walk, couldn't move, like was about to die, and now they took him to Panama and got like an extreme stem cell treatment, and now he's running, working out, living life, hanging out, and I think he's like almost 100 now.
That's really cool. See, we can regenerate if we have the right building blocks, and
Right.
take care of ourselves. It's pretty cool. So we got to do some of those breakout sessions, and then I'd say the best thing that I got out of the conference was the community.
Okay.
So there were about 1,500 people, and so you have the lecture, and then on the right side of the lecture, just like a Zoom call, everybody's typing,
Right.
and it's really kind of fun and funny at the same time. And I just met some really great connections of people from all over the world. Like there's a lot of Australians there and Canadians and people from the US, and it was just that's the part I like the most, to be honest with you, is just all the different perspectives from all over.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I could share some of my notes if you want.
Please, absolutely.
Okay. So Dave kept talking about using DuckDuckGo search engine. Have you heard of that?
Yes. It's because they don't sell or track your data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of live a life. I don't care if people follow me, but I'm going to check it out. So
Yeah.
I took notes because I'm like, I need to check that out. That seems pretty interesting.
It does seem really cool. I heard, damn it, I saying his name again, but Joe Rogan said it the other day too, that he uses that as well. So I guess if all the rich people are using it, I also heard somebody talking about using a company called ExpressVPN in your house, because right now your internet company is actually tracking every single thing that you do on the internet and selling
Yeah.
it to advertisers and people. But you can use ExpressVPN and it'll block their ability to track your movements.
That's so crazy. That's just so crazy.
Right?
We're turning into like one big commercial in the world.
It's like Minority Report when he was walking in the mall and the thing scanned him and gave him a personalized advertisement.
Oh my gosh, right?
Right?
That's kind of what we get every time we turn on our internet, because they know what we want to see for news and
Oh man, it's
buying
it's
and
crazy. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and she was talking about like buying some shorts for my brother, and I was describing to her the exact shorts that he would want, and then I was like, "Look, mom, guess what? I guarantee you, next time I open Instagram, I'm going to get an advertisement for these exact shorts." Woke up the next morning, opened it up, bam, they were right there.
so
Like,
creepy.
like seriously, like, cause I've totally accepted it. I will pick up my phone, completely like locked, not on, and speak into it. Say, I would like to have an advertisement for this,
Oh
and it'll
my
show up
God.
within 24 hours.
So then why are people spending so much time on dating apps? The internet should be able to find our perfect match.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook does have a map of our brain, you know, like technically. Like I was listening to the guy who made the documentary. Oh, it's escaping me. I'm not gonna remember it, but he made a documentary about how they're tracking us and everything, and it's about
I know what you're talking about. I want to call it exposed, but I know that's not the right name.
no, it's two words.
Yeah, I
Whatever.
didn't watch it because it's going to freak me out. But I
Oh, it
know
is
exactly what
freaky.
you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was saying that like these algorithms are made to predict, to look at our brain and predict what we're going to think next and what next
Yeah.
and look at next. And so
I
they
have a
can.
friend who watches YouTube all the time, and he was telling me that all of a sudden, like something came on the right, like the things that you probably will like, and it was about airplanes. And he's like, I don't even know how they would know I like airplanes because I never look up anything airplanes. I didn't even know I liked airplanes, but then when I saw the video, I liked it. I'm like, they know what I like more than I like. I'm like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's the like the thing that where people are worrying about in the future, how like the internet or the machines are going to take over and they're going to be in control. Well, they kind of already are,
Yeah.
because if the algorithms know us better than we do, and the algorithms aren't controlled by humans, then we're being controlled by a machine.
Yeah, because we're not really making the decisions. We're going with their suggestions most
Right.
of the time,
Yeah.
which are the only things presented in front of us.
Right. Right. Interesting shit. What's the
Right?
next note?
Okay, so I just took random notes. I really mostly just chatted with people in the box. I'm just kidding. Okay, so kale and spinach have lots of oxalic acid and it can cause a lot of joint pain. So if
Yes.
you're a healthy vegan and you're eating lots of like kale and spinach and you're having joint pain, just take a look. I think if you cook it, it kind of breaks it down a little bit. Just back off a little bit.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus was talking about that, how she was a vegan and kale almost killed her, and Mike Tyson said the same thing. Mike Tyson
Right?
said that kale. He was like, "No, it kills me, man," in his little lispy voice. Yeah, I feel like the fact that plants are like harmful to you in a certain manner. Or to a certain degree, has been like a prevalent discussion in the health community lately that I've been seeing. Like,
Lectins, like
yeah,
the lectins.
yeah. And like for like I heard somebody, I can't remember who said it, but he was talking about it and he was like, we need to look at plants as medicine rather than food. Cuz
Well, we should look at all of food as medicine or poison, our choice, right?
yeah, I
Food
guess
is
that's
medicine or poison, your choice.
Yes. Yes,
Your choice. I mean, I'm definitely not perfect.
Me
Yeah, so
neither.
that's kind of all I took as far as the nutrition goes because I know most of it, so I didn't take notes. There was a lot of great information. There was some really good motivational speakers. I don't
Gary
even
Vee
know
was on there, right?
who?
Gary Vee?
No,
He wasn't?
I
I
don't
thought I
think
saw him advertise
maybe he was. Maybe he's the one who told me this because I didn't write down who told me.
it.
Sorry. I know Jay Shetty was there, and so was Gabby Bernstein. Maybe he was, and I was just like getting
I'll have to
sorted.
look up those two people because I haven't heard those names before.
Oh yeah, they're great. So so this was one statement that kind of struck me. It says the purpose this is a Picasso quote. Purpose of life is to find your gift. The meaning of life is to give it away. And that's kind of where I am actually why I started my podcast because like I trained for 20 years. I trained for I don't know, 24 years including 12 years after high school and then I worked for like another 16 years and now I feel like it's my job to kind of give information back and
Yeah,
kind
now
of
you're an expert.
in one thing, but I want to bring other experts together to so people can realize like we're not divided, we're shared. Like, you think this might not be related to this, but they are actually related.
Hmm.
So yeah, just to kind of merge consciousness a little bit.
Yeah, that's I mean, like that quote is also the exact reason why I created mine. Like I'm no expert in anything, but I do have the gift of like being curious and being on this journey of learning and what like I know like all the things that you've done and all these other people are doing, like I know I'm going to get there and be there eventually, and I want to document that journey so that somebody else can see what it looks like to go from like before I started this journey a year ago, I was like yo-yo dieting all the time. if you told me about chakras, I would have told you to screw off. I've never meditated before. Like woo woo stuff, didn't no, dismissed it. I was angry. I yelled at people. I was like I wasn't a rude person, but like I had a temper, and because I was raised by a mother that yelled at me, a father that yelled at me, and a football coach that yelled at me. So all I ever knew was yell, and so that got me into some shit. And so I like it's so interesting to try to show that, to showcase that you can go from this polar opposite to whatever the hell is that golden thing that you're trying to shoot for in the future. And I just want to document that journey because I know it's going to happen, and I think that the showing people that could bring people value.
Totally. That's so cool because, yeah, we all transform, and it's not like there's one place where we want to be. We're just curious enough to kind of follow the journey and see where it takes us.
Right, right. Like imagine if you had a podcast and like an Instagram, and when you began college, or like right before you began college is when you started putting it out there,
Oh my
and you
gosh.
were putting it out there the whole time as you were learning, as you were growing, and then people could see that transformation, that turned into a butterfly.
I might have just hit delete though. No, but going back to meditation, like my whole life I was so type A and people were like, you need to meditate. I'm like, I get a massage, I'm good, like I'll go for a run, and it's just different, when you're in this place of just satisfying to just be, right?
Yeah, it's so absolutely different.
So on that, so he used the quote, maybe it is Gary Vee. Gosh, I feel so bad I didn't write. I really didn't take good notes because I didn't think we were going to be talking about it.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so he said, what is something you are pursuing or trying to create? Then ask yourself, where did the desire come from? And then really ask yourself, do I want it to be mine or someone else's projections? And I think this is so key for young people because I didn't realize this until a few years ago. Like, you have to do what's right for you, not what you think the world is telling you to do or what you should do, right? Like, should. Don't live in the should world. Live in the authentic world of your unique individuality.
Yeah, yeah. I resonate with that heavily. I like my current occupation is a result of doing what you should do. So
Yeah,
like this there's no money from this. This is all a side hustle right now.
of course.
And so like for instance, I went to the normal path. They were like, you got to go to college. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't want to go to college, but I have to, so I guess I'll get a general business degree. And then it's like, okay, well now I'm a project manager. What's next? I guess I'm supposed to get a PMP. And then you get the PMP, and then I'm like, I feel like I accomplished all these things, but I have no satisfaction. And so it's like it's that finding the thing that you're actually passionate about, that means something to you, that actually gets you excited about doing it at the beginning and the end of every day. And like,
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people hold on to that sunk cost, right? So what was the cost of doing all of that? Like you spent all that time and all that money and all that energy doing that. So people are like, well, I already spent all that time doing that, so I have to use it somehow. No, you don't. It's okay. It was a life lesson. Like, let it go. Like for
yeah,
me, I struggled with that and a lot of guilt for 3 years when I quit clinical medicine. I'm like, gosh, I spent so much time and so much energy, and I'm actually good at this. And then I was like, no, this isn't authentic because I'm just waiting for people to get disease and then I'm treating them. I want to help prevent disease. I want to help be
yes,
proactive. I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive and
I like that.
educate people because I realize that there's not a lot of knowledge out there, right? There's not a lot of awareness. You only know what you know. Like you knew yelling. That's all you knew. So I know yelling, I'm going to yell.
Right.
Well, you have to teach yourself and break the cycle, right? And
Yes.
we all have that power. That's the beauty of life is like we have this amazing power to transform if we want to. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I didn't hear it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's I think one of my favorite things that Sam, do you know who Sam Harris is?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
One
I
of my
listen.
favorite things that he says is it's never too late to begin again.
Yeah. You just have
Never.
to get that sunk cost out of your mind, like it's okay. Like if you invested in it, it's sort of like if you buy a really, I'll try not to pull my mic again. It's like if you buy a really, really expensive outfit and then you realize you're not going to wear it. You're like, oh, I'm not going to get rid of it because I spent so much on it. Well, you're never going to wear it. Just get rid of it, right? Like you're
Yes.
going to use that knowledge. Just forget it, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
move on.
And I think like it, and it, even if it is sunk costs. I think everything applies to everything, you know, because
Hmm.
if you have knowledge in this area over here or this area over here and it's very narrow, at least some part of that will apply to everything else.
100%. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You learn something there. It's like relationships. It's not like it was a waste. It was great. It was like a book,
Yeah,
like
it
it's
hurt
a
really
great,
bad at the end, but
you
you know,
learned something though. You
so
learned
much.
something. Yeah.
So much. Yeah, I think those are probably some of the biggest events of learning in people's lives.
Hmm.
Is getting over. Actually, that I think that problem is what like spear tipped the direction of my movement. Honestly, like, cause I got into a bad breakup and it happened like the exact same way as all the other ones, and I was like, I was like, something's not working here. Like, this has got to change, and it can't. It obviously, if the same exact thing is happening in the same exact amount of time every time, then it's not necessarily my fault. Like, I don't feel guilty or blame me for anything, but like there's obviously something that needs to change within me
Yeah.
and outwardly of how I react with people, in order to like make anything last, and to be able to have a relationship with anybody. So that's, I think that
Including
that was
yourself. Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. Like I've been saying lately, what has been happening is I've been falling in love with myself, and it's really interesting. It's really fun.
It's very secure too. You're not going anywhere.
Right? Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be with me the whole rest of my life, you
Right?
know. And so, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And I think, like for instance, I took myself on a date last night. I went to a sushi bar and I sat at the bar by myself and I enjoyed my own company. And I came home and I was like, you know what? Like, that was really nice, because
Right?
beforehand I thought about, like asking my roommate to go with me and then asking like a girl to go with me, and then I was like, you deserve you, bro.
Right? Yeah, and I think when you know who you are and what you want, you can give so much more to someone than when you're lost and you're trying to be the person that you think they want, or you know project and stuff. When you're just really confident with yourself and you're curious with other people, you're just going to give a better part of yourself too, and sometimes we need some time alone to get there, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think that's
We
so
all do.
superiorly important.
Right?
um cool. Do you have any other notes? No worries
Yeah.
if not.
Oh yeah, I do.
Cool.
They talked about red light therapy. I've got a Juve red light over there. It's like a
Oh,
single
please.
panel.
That's
Yeah.
a yeah, let's talk
I
about
don't
that.
I don't know if you could see it. Can you see it? It's on my door. You see that hanging there?
Yeah, I see it.
I did my legs this morning because I mountain biked yesterday, so they were sore. I usually do upper body, and like I try to get my thymus gland and just my skin and my eyes,
Hmm.
because I'm on the computer so much. And I've had that for about a year now. I don't use it as much as I should, because like we get outside a lot here.
Yeah.
But the science, they reviewed some of the science. It improves circulation. It's anti-aging by increasing collagen thickness and decreasing fine lines. It boosts fat loss. I don't know about that. That's an N of one.
Right.
Decreases inflammation and pain, and that's why I like to do it after like I work out
I
really
can
hard,
definitely attest to that.
right? And
Yeah.
then, it's really important for people to realize that not all red lights are the same. You need like the proper wavelength, and a lot of the cheap knockoffs out there will have they'll just be like light bulbs that are painted red. So they have to have the right wavelength in order to, get these results.
Which is 640 nanometers to 840.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Very good.
Yes. Yes.
And then Jay Shetty talked, and Jay's really cool. He has a book that came out called Think Like a Monk, and
Oh, I've heard of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's very, very motivational. I didn't really take a lot of notes because I follow him, so I've heard a lot of his stuff. But I thought something he said about the different types of meditation that was interesting. Like there's breath work. So if I'm driving and I start to feel aggravated or stressed, or if I'm in the grocery line and I'm getting annoyed because I'm waiting too long or something, I'll do breath work, like, just slow breathing in and out. It's better to breathe in through your nose, right? And I like Andrew Weil's breath work. I think we talked about this last time, where you inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and I'll inhale through my nose, hold, and then I exhale through my mouth really slow. And I find that I can do that anywhere, and it just kind of relaxes your body, lowers cortisol, helps control your blood glucose levels, and just gets you in the right state of mind. Then the second type of meditation he mentioned was visualization. and there's like guided visualization meditations you could do, and that heals the mind.
Ooh,
And then
I think
there's
that's something that Joe
mantra.
Dispenza focuses on as well, is healing the mind with
Yeah,
meditation.
the visualization. He's really good at that. And then there's the mantra meditation, which I find to be like the hardest for me. Like sometimes I'll do so hum, and you have to keep repeating it. Um, and that heals the soul and the heart. So maybe I just need to do that one
Does it
too.
have to be, can't the mantra be anything of your creation,
Anything of your
right?
creation, anything. It's just a repetitive statement, and you're not thinking about your day. You're not planning anything. You're just repetitive. But there's something about humming that's really, really good. James Nestor talked about that in his book Breath, where it breaks up all the congestion in the sinuses. So if you could hum, that's why
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
vibration's really, really good for you.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
But just one note on that, the mantra meditation, the one that I like to do, actually my best friend, Sterling, aka Mercury DMC, he's a rapper.
Oh,
He,
that's awesome.
I'm actually his hype man. I get up on stage with him and pump up the
Oh my
crowd.
gosh, it's so great.
It's so fun. But he gave me the mantra of "You're exactly where you should be." You're in meditating on that,
Yeah.
and that's been really helping me lately. Like I never articulated it that in that manner before, and
I like that.
it's been like, and like, and because when you do that little meditation, then it transfers into regular life. So like something will go wrong, and I'm like, you're exactly where you should be,
You're
man. And then I
exactly where you
just
should be.
smile, and I'm like, wow, this sucks a lot, but this is amazing because this is exactly where I should be, and whatever comes out of this is a positive thing. And then like that, like mixed with just plain mindfulness meditation of like watching your thoughts and recognizing things as they appear,
Yeah.
like that. I actually noticed today, like something happened and it normally would piss me off, and I just laughed at it. I was like, man, that's so funny. Like, oh my goodness, like I can't believe this is happening right now. This is horrible. And I actually texted my friend and I was like, man, my zenness is getting zennier.
You found humor in it. I think humor is
Right.
like the best solution, right?
Right, like laughing at the thing that used to make me like red to the face angry, which is,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, like I've heard people talk about it before, but like when things go wrong, it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, it's
But it takes practice. Like it takes a lot of practice to get there, because I don't want anyone to hear us and be like, "Oh gosh, like why do I suck because I can't do that?" Because it takes a lot of practice of just figuring out what's going to work in each situation. And I mean, we all get rattled, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes I'm just like, okay, that's like, I imagine like if somebody yells at me or it's anger, I just imagine it's like the wind blowing through me,
Oh, that's
rather than,
nice.
yeah, I'm like, that's just blowing through me.
Huh, huh. That is
No, or,
cool.
or like last week, I had so many bad things happen. I'm like, oh gosh, I must not be getting this lesson. I keep having to get the same darn lesson again and again. I'm gonna have to learn it this time.
Hey, that's what it takes, man. Like running
Right.
up against the brick wall and smacking your head until it bleeds, and you're like, okay, I got it now. But like I got something happened to me last week, and it like I got upset, like mad, and right after I kind of started calming down, I looked and I was like, holy shit, that was the first time I got mad in months. And it was like cool,
And it's
like I could.
okay. Like sometimes you just sit there and you say, I am mad because of X, Y, and Z. Like you have a right to be mad. It's okay. Like it's not good to suppress it, right?
Right, right. It's about your interaction with that and how you portray that anger or frustration to the world or that person.
Totally. Yeah, go run it off.
Yeah, run it off, meditate it off, breathe it off,
Yeah,
whatever you got to do. But
I know.
yeah,
There's a really good mantra that Gabby Bernstein says in one of her books. I am open to creative possibilities. Reveal to me what you can do, universe.
I'm
So
open to creative
yeah,
possibilities.
I'm open to creative possibilities. So I think a lot of times we get fixated on an outcome, like I have to finish this marathon, right? Like I'm open to creative possibilities. Like maybe the triathlon will come by and I'll do that instead, right? Or like
Wow.
there's
Yeah.
other things, like you have to be open to creative possibilities, because when we get so fixed on an outcome, it's almost it's just not a healthy place to be.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can have a
Yeah.
goal, but don't get fixed on that being the only
Yeah. That was
solution.
do you know David Goggins?
No.
No, David Goggins. He's He was a Navy SEAL. He's the only person to complete the training for all of the different special forces that we have in America, like the only
Wow.
person ever. And he just finished running. He has the world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours. He has ran multiple Moab 240 races.
David
Like
Goggins?
David Goggins,
Okay.
yes. He has a book called You Can't Hurt Me.
Oh, I've
Um,
heard of the book. I'm just terrible with names. Okay.
Oh
I've
yeah,
heard of the book.
he's
Yeah.
the most savage man probably on the planet, honestly.
Huh?
And he made a video the other day, and he was talking about back when in Buds training, I
Yep,
think
buds. Yeah.
Buds, and how they would do 10, 20 mile runs,
Hmm.
and on the way back, as they started getting near to the end point, he would notice people starting to get excited and jolly and ready for it to end. And then he said that sometimes the instructor would say, you know what, screw you guys, and they would just keep running right on
Yeah.
past the end point. And the moment that happened, their heads went down and everybody got serious. And he was saying that he was like, man, I fucking hope for them to run past that end line. I hope for rain. I hope for bad weather. I hope for the wrong thing to happen, because when the distance is unknown, that's when you find out who the fuck you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's sort of like the people who they always say the optimists don't survive the POW camps. It's the
Mm,
people that are like, I'm just going to expect to be here forever and I
yeah.
can do it, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, oh, hopefully tomorrow, because you get kind of beaten down. It's opposite of what you would think, right? But it's kind of true, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I heard a story about a man who was captured by Somali pirates for 2 years, and he was talking about like how he just found solace within himself and meditation and keeping that mindset that you just stated, and that's what got him through. And like he's perfectly
Wow.
fine, everything's good, and he came back. It's freaking amazing.
Gosh. Some more pearls I want to share with you
Please.
from Gabby Bernstein. So I am open to creative possibilities. Reveal to me what you can do, universe. So that's like a mantra she'll say, right?
Hmm.
And her thoughts behind that are, whenever we take an action based on fear. So if we do something based on fear, like I better do this or else something's going to happen, right? If we take an action based on fear, uncertainty, or we're grasping at energy, like a desperate kind of energy grasping, right? The energy does not support it in the universe. And it won't happen, right? So we have to do something coming from a place of love. So an action must be backed with love and kindness and service, not
It's
the
a course
ego.
of miracles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, right?
yeah,
Same sort of stuff in different words.
yeah.
Um, so all action must come from a place of spiritual alignment. So if we were on this podcast to talk about like how great we are and we want to get a big contract or something like that is not in alignment with the universe. It's like
Right.
we're here to serve, we're here to share information. We have our own unique voice that we want to share so that maybe people can get something out of it and be a better person, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of action, backed by that kind of love and service is what the universe supports, basically.
Right.
And she talks a lot about like law of attraction and stuff like that, but I really like her stuff. She has a book called Super Attractor that has a lot of those same concepts.
Huh. That sounds like the female version of Joe Dispenza. Because like
She
that.
kind of is. Yeah,
Right.
a little bit. Not he's more sciency, and
That's
she's
what I
more
love.
spiritually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
my brain is so sciency, and because my whole life I was absolutely dismissive of woo woo. Like for me to have that science, like really makes me
Yep.
believe it. Like honestly, until 24 hours ago, I would have told you to screw off about chakras
Yeah.
until I read it in
But
this
the
book.
cool thing is like the more you learn, the more you realize it's connected, right? It's
Yes.
like when I became a doctor, I was like, okay, let me take a break here. Like the human body is so darn perfect. There's no way this just happened.
Hmm.
Like there's a higher source. I don't care what you call it, but
Uh-huh.
there's definitely a higher source,
Yeah.
because we can't figure out how, you replace a shoulder or a knee, it doesn't work nearly as well. You replace any part of the body, it is so inferior to what the human body does, and the synchronicity of it all, and it just works, and it's the perfect symphony. Our body works in this like the most amazing way. So it's the same thing with like his work and the science, and then you realize like, oh wait, this is coming from like
The
a really
Eastern woo woo.
spiritual woo-woo place. There's a lot
Yeah.
of woo-woo. So I think woo-woo is going to be more mainstream down the road as we kind of head into the 5D.
Yeah, and science is starting to prove it. So like science is starting to get to the point where we were used to use science to disprove the Eastern religion and practices and all of that stuff and the woo woo, but now the science is starting to catch up to the point where it's actually like, oh crap, this actually points to that being true. Now we got to start over, and they're actually connecting. It's interesting.
Right. And as more people raise the vibration of the world, the vibration, the collective's going to raise, and it's kind of domino effect a little bit.
Yeah, I mean like a big part of my mission is to be a part of the global shift of consciousness towards oneness and love. That's kind of my little phrase.
And it's, I mean, how could you argue against love? Like, all we want is for people to have more kindness and be more loving. Like,
Yeah,
how is that
and
a bad
to yourself
thing?
as well, to your own body, to yourself, and then
Always
that,
first, prioritize yourself, consider others.
I like that.
Prioritize yourself, consider others. Yeah.
Huh. Wow,
That
that's
was one of
magic.
my Zen takeaways because I was such a giver.
Yeah,
They
prioritize.
give you a little plaque on the last day, and those are the 3 things that you have to work on. So I probably should look up. Oh, I live an authentic life. That was one of mine. The other one was I prioritize myself, but and I consider others. And I can't remember my third one. It's sitting next to my bed. So
Hey,
yeah,
it's
so we all
okay.
have our issues that we have to work on, and that was mine. So every day I say, okay, am I making a decision? Is it a hell yes or a hell no? If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So if you're like, hey, Jen, do you want to do the podcast? If I'm like, maybe, it's a hell no.
Right.
So it's either a hell yes or it's a no, right?
Yeah.
So if I say to my kids, like, hey, do you guys want to go to dinner? They're like, maybe. I go, that means no. Unless you're like, yep, hell yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I think I've been taking that and putting that into my own life lately with different pursuits and trying to do different things, because I found myself trying to I was trying to write a book and trying to do these things, and then I was like waking up and looking at it and it was like not a hell yes. So I was like, I'm just gonna put that in the back burner and not overextend myself in that area, because if it, like you just said, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, and it's just not worth your time.
Think in your head, like, is it something you don't want to do because you don't want to do it, or is it because of fear, right? Because if it's fear, then you kind of have to walk yourself through that. Like, okay, what am I afraid of? Oh,
Right.
I'm afraid of people not wanting to read my book, or
Yeah.
I'm afraid of,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, well, for me,
Then
it was
what?
mostly like I don't I that fear of, what if people don't like me. I'm super blessed. I don't care. I'm super
Yeah.
blessed that I don't care. So it was literally just realizing the monumental amount of effort that it's going to take, and all the different roadblocks that I'm going to have to get through to get to the point where it's any kind of finished piece. And I was like, I don't want that, and it's not worth it to me, I don't think, at
Right
this
now.
point in time in my life. But for
Right now.
instance, like my podcast, like every single time that I come across a new challenge or I plateau or something goes wrong, I'm like invigorated and I'm like, okay, like let's study. Like for instance, I just have you heard of Leon the Alchemist?
No.
I'm
writing so many good notes here. Leon the Alchemist.
Leon the Alchemist. He is this really cool guy. He has a podcast called Bioalchemy. He is a master herbologist. He's a really cool
Ooh.
guy, and he has an amazing voice because he's from Australia. And he has this podcasting course that he dropped his first podcast with no mailing list, no previous things, and within 90 days he had 100,000 downloads and monetized over $13,000 with
I can't
no
find his
paid
podcast.
advertisements.
What's his podcast called?
Bioalchemy.
Oh, bioalchemy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. See,
Yeah.
but if you're doing it from the right place, things will just fall into place, right?
Right. But he created this course, this like 70-hour course that takes you through each and every single teeny tiny detail of what he did to be successful, so that he did it. And I bought it the other day, and I can't stop.
Oh, it has a really good page. I like this. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to actually listen to his podcast, but he was a guest on Biohacking Brittany's podcast.
Okay.
And Biohacking Brittany, that was an amazing podcast. I actually implemented 2 things into my daily routine just from that 30 minutes of them talking.
Oh, that's awesome. She's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple other things that I wanted to
Yes.
go over.
I know we're getting to the end here.
Yeah. So there was one cool meditation they had. They had these little breaks with like Egoscue and meditation in between, because we were in lectures from
What's Egoscue?
it's like postural alignment and stretching and stuff.
Hmm. Never heard of it. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's called the Egoscue method. It's Egoscue.
Okay.
And I haven't done it except for that, but like they'd have us do these 3-minute little things and I felt really good afterwards. So there's definitely something to it for alignment. But then there was one meditation, and there's something that she said in this meditation that stuck with me, because we're always told like be grateful and have gratitude and stuff. And yeah, okay, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have, you know, a roof. I'm grateful I have food. I'm grateful I have a strong body. I'm grateful I have a voice, blah, blah, blah. But she said, focus on what you don't want that you don't have. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that just hit home to me. Like,
Focus on what
on
you
what you
don't
don't
want.
want that you don't have. Like be grateful that you don't have what you don't want, right?
Right.
Like
Huh.
I am grateful that I am not imprisoned as a woman in sex slavery. Like, right? Like that's
Yeah.
something I don't want that I don't have. That's something to be very grateful for, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I'm grateful that I don't wreck my motorcycle.
Yeah, I'm grateful that I did not. Yeah, that
Yeah.
I like
That's something that I don't want that I don't have.
exactly. Like that's another way to be grateful. Like think of like kind of the worst case scenario and just be grateful you don't have that, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I've also been finding myself grateful for bad things, like grateful for jealousy, or grateful for like a negative emotion, or a bad action, or something like that. And the not the negative connotation of that, but the positive result of what you learn from after it.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Or like I'm thankful for the pain that I received through a breakup, or I'm thankful for the injury that I received that taught me how to do this physical therapy thing. Yeah.
Because it's the full human experience, right?
Right,
We
right.
want the full human. Why do we want to deny ourselves from the full human experience?
I don't know, man, cuz you can't feel the pleasure without the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's beautiful to feel the whole spectrum, I think, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I've been realizing that a lot lately. I was actually talking to my friend about that earlier, about how beautiful even the negative things are, and finding the comical beauty within everything. So cool.
And you just know it's not going to last forever. You're never this happy or this sad as you are now, right? And you never will be feeling the same.
Yes.
So the feeling is temporary.
I have a theory,
Yeah.
that all bad times will end, and when they do end, the good times will be 10 times as good and 10 times as long. For
Yeah,
me,
but it
for
would
me
be
so
boring if
far,
everything was always good. It would be a little boring.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, as terms of like, if you like, we go through ruts in life. You go through a
Yeah.
rut, and when you get into that rut, it might last for 6 months. But my postulation is that if that 6 months sucks, then you're gonna have 5 years that are great in general.
I agree. And you'll be able to endure them better because you already endured something that was so bad that all the little blips and all the little downturns during those 5 years are going to feel like nothing. That's the
Right.
thing. It's like once you've been through something hard, it doesn't, the other little things that used to, you know, make you friends in a frenzy don't affect you as much, right?
Yes, ma'am. Cool. Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much for being here again. What is your podcast name one more time?
It's called Radiance Revealed with Dr. Jen Haley.
Okay. And when are we
And
gonna see it?
what was that?
When are we gonna see it?
I'm hoping by December 1st it'll be out. Yeah,
Perfect.
and I'll let you know. And then my website is drjenhaley.com, and then Instagram is at Dr. Jen Haley.
Excellent. Awesome. Cool,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for coming on here again.
I love talking to you. Thanks,
Me
Joshua.
too. Excellent. You have a good
Appreciate it.
evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.